RVW? What is that?
Office chair, and you guys didn't buy me one. I'm like, you gonna buy all you.
You send me whenever you guys are ready. That's all right. Like a minute, 2 minutes.
Good. We're on there. Are people looking at us?
You guys will be heard in the background.
Oh, hey, Kitty.
I have music.
Oh, really? What's that?
That's funny.
That is funny. What's up, guys? This is another edition of Tin Soldier Tuesday. We're going to talk about a few things. We're going to do show you a little product stuff at the beginning. Then we're going to talk about Pro 275 and radio.
Not just Pro 2, a bunch of classes.
Yeah,
I guess Pro 275 is the hot topic.
Well, we just had some. We just want to talk about racing.
Yeah.
So it's always a good topic. And then we're going to try to work on doing some more demonstrational videos and stuff. So, but we just want to know what you guys want to know more about. You know, whether that's header stuff. We tried to do bead rolling once, but that was before we had an audio guy.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go back through and redo everything.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Like a lot of the videos, we should go back and remake them.
Yeah,
so
they were not good.
no, no, they were really bad. They were really, really bad. So, but yeah, so we'll probably go back and revisit some of that stuff. So please, like and comment and do all that stuff for the YouTube deal. That's new to us. We're gonna try to keep doing more content and stuff on there. But yeah, Brad's going to go through, I think you probably have noticed, if you haven't had a chance, get on the website and surf around. It's probably tripled in size. There's a lot of stuff on there. Maybe not tripled,
Doubled.
but there's a lot of stuff on there.
There's more stuff coming.
Yeah, so we're working really, really hard to get that thing fully stocked with a lot of different stuff. And like we talked, we're just a convenient society. So not that... a lot of the stuff is not reinventing the wheel. It's nothing that's groundbreaking. There will be some cool stuff mixed in between that, but we know that people want to pay shipping once. They want to do things once. So, we're already selling 4-link kits, things like that, so it just makes sense to add, anti-roll bars and tabs and all that stuff to that. So, but Brad's going to go through, this is actually something that's not on the website yet, but it will be probably by the end of the week, if not the first of next week. But go ahead, bud.
So all the housings that we build in house are all designed by Hammer. It's Hammer's center section, and then the housings that we build have a version of our and Hammer's brackets put together, and then Hammer also has his own version of brackets. But anyway, so all the housings, are all Hammer design. And one of the things about building a housing, if you've never built one before, is a little intimidating is the stock suspension uppers, because they're on an angle that there's not really.
Everything that we have right now is coming through Jason's mic because you didn't even turn your microphone
No,
on.
it is on. It's definitely on, bub.
Brad's doing a bad job.
No,
Fire me.
no.
So go ahead.
You're good.
Can you hear me now?
I can see you.
Well, we know you can see me. Can you hear me?
Dang, the sound issues. We're gonna
Zach, you're fired.
Hey guys.
Okay, so where were we? So, anyways, on Hammer's housings, so the most difficult thing about building a stock suspension housing is obviously the uppers, because they're on an angle, so there's not a really good way to measure them. The lowers, or a 4-link bracket or anything like that is pretty easy to put on, because it slides right on the tubes. You put a level on it and a tape measure, and you can square it up really easily. The uppers are difficult. Well, what Hammer's done on all of his housings is he's got a locator slot in the back brace that locates onto the upper tabs for the upper control arms. So that locates the upper for you. So it holds it at the right angle. It drops down right in that slot, and then this side is profiled to fit the housing. So it literally only sits in there in one spot. So there's literally no measuring required. The uppers fit right into the tab on the back brace, and it locates it for you. You put your spacers in there to hold your width, and then your box end goes on the back, and it's that easy.
This is my favorite weld on a whole housing.
Yeah.
I love those.
But that's how we build all the kits in house. All of the housings are actually going to be available as a kit for the chassis shops out there that want to assemble them themselves.
We don't have to weld them then. It's really
they're going to be on the website within the next week. So keep an eye out for that. And so we wanted to show you guys how easy it was to locate the uppers on Hammer's housings.
The other thing that Brad just did mention there was that these jig spacers are also on the website. They're $30. So this is something that you can use over and over and over again, obviously.
Right.
But this just spaces your uppers and your lowers at the correct spacing. And then, like Brad said, it is a male-female, which that's getting a little blurry these days. It's not a gender-neutral housing. It's got a male-female slot. So if you put it together with the male and it goes to the female, you have a really nice rear end housing. So it's really good. We believe in male and female still.
Yeah.
So, but it's just really awesome to simplify that kind of stuff. And I know that's probably one of the things that people call us the most for is suspension geometry questions. So the more that we can make it easy on you, the better. And like I said, just if you're a smaller chassis shop, this is going to be a great kit for you.
Yep.
And you can even assemble this. You need some sort of rear end fixture, but you don't need exactly what we have, that the fancy one that Hammer has, which is a great product. But you could assemble this honestly with just an alignment bar if you.
Yeah. You want to really, really take your time welding that back brace on.
Yeah.
But it is possible. Yeah.
It looked like a tater chip.
Yeah. Weld an inch, go drink a coffee. Weld an inch, go take a break. Take a nap. Come back, weld another inch. Yeah.
If you're part-time fab guy and you're doing it at night, you can drink a beer.
Yeah.
and then by the end you won't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's my Bud Light rear end
Yeah.
housing.
If you don't have some fancy rear end fixture to clamp the whole entire housing in, to preload it and hold it there, I would not recommend installing a back brace on any housing because it'll end up looking like a boomerang.
It's really hard to throw.
Yeah.
Super hard to throw.
I think just about anybody that's built a rear end housing, from scratch has at least warped the shit out of one of them and been like, that was not good. We messed up.
Where do we go to the scrap bin from here?
Yeah. I'm not gonna do that again.
Yeah, that's really funny. So, yeah, check that stuff out. Like I said, we just really appreciate you guys' support on that stuff. But we'll kind of transition to our topic of the night of, talking about Pro 275. The question was, is it the new RVW? I think, people there's just some chatter about RVW being out of touch and things like that. And I think just with the evolution of drag racing, that happens with every class.
Right.
Pro stock, my dad, I always kind of talk about my old man, but my dad started racing in the late 70s and he raced super stock, in the early 70s. And at that time, a lot of guys were taking their super stock cars and converting them to pro stock cars. And then, now we see where pro stock is today.
Yeah.
But it started, I think every class starts the same way. It's kind of some grassroots stuff, and then it evolves over time, and we try to update the rule set. And then as payouts get better, as attention to the class gets better, then people with more money and more talent roll in. And that's not a bad thing. That's just the evolution of drag racing.
Yeah, I definitely think that, Pro 275 is the new RVW. I think, and it's Pro 275 is really hot right now, and for good reason. How fast they're going on them little bitty tires is pretty sick. I think I gotta look on my phone. The Bumblebee.
I think he's went fast.
I want to say that thing went like
Somebody's probably going to comment.
950, 60 foot on a 275 Pro. Hold on. I got it. I saved it on my phone. You can talk. I'm looking.
So I think the thing for me, that I love about Pro 275 is, and you guys have probably noticed, we've built a few composite bodied cars, but we love the steel roof and quarter car. I love a car. I don't know. I just feel like the composite stuff doesn't have a soul. You know what I mean? Even I get the ease of doing Detroit, I forget who it is, Real Steel or whoever it is, whatever company. They make repop 69 Camaro bodies, things like that, which is a great option.
It's better than a composite body, but it's still not a real VIN number.
Yeah, it's cool.
Real deal car. So
well, my dad, again back to the old man, he worked at Norwood in the 60s, and he built Camaros, Firebirds, stuff like that, and anytime we cut up an old car, I love to look where it was made. Yeah. Because it's man, my dad could have worked on this car. Yeah. And now we're cutting it up and turning it into a race car, which is pretty awesome.
Right, for sure. Well, the Bumblebee, the blower Bumblebee car, not to be confused with the twin turbo Bumblebee car. The blower Bumblebee car went a 951 60 foot on a 275 Pro.
Yeah, that's impressive.
That's retarded. It went 371 at 202. That is freaking getting it.
Yeah, that's fast, man.
Yeah. So. But I seen that 60 foot and I was just like, we're over here I want to go. One day I'm gonna go 999 on a 275, and then Bumblebee 951.
Well, if anybody would like to let us borrow a blower car on 275s, that I would love to drive a blower car,
oh, for sure,
a rowdy, when you start it, you're oh man, what's about to happen? And I want to roll every burnout I've ever done in my life has been in a small cubic inch. Well, not all of them, but most of them, small cubic inch turbo car with a big turbo, and there's a lot of skill involved in getting one of them. So a blower car would be awesome to just go through and just mat it.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the Pro 275 is hot right now. I think in qualifying at Lights Out, I think there was like 20. It was mid 20s. There was like 20 something cars in the threes, you know,
Yeah.
that went 399 or faster in Pro 275, and there was only like 16 cars in RVW that went in the threes in qualifying.
Yeah. And a lot of them
the
were cars
Pro
that crossed over.
275 field, as an average, was faster than the RVW field,
Yeah.
which is just crazy.
Well, I think that's kind of the feel, like, you know, I think with radial stuff, it always did start with, you know, with a real car.
Yeah.
That's where RVW came from, really. And not that, I'm not going to get into it wasn't a mistake to let the composite body stuff in or not, like, but I do think that's why Pro 275, people love it so much, is because it, you know, again, it's back to, it's a real car.
Yeah.
That's where radial racing started from.
Right.
You know, so.
But I think too that what's hurting a lot of the car count in RVW is the one that, you know, at Lights Out, the payout for RVW and Pro 275 was, I think it was 20 grand for both classes. Well, it's like, well, I got to run 350s for 20 grand, or I can run 370s for 20
Yeah.
grand. You're like, well, I'm going to jump in the slower class because I can be more competitive. So I think a lot of guys are, you know, falling back because, I mean, you know, they're on the verge of going 40s and
Oh, they're going to do it.
RVW, they're going to do it. So it's like, you know, there's a lot of guys that are just like, I can't go that fast.
Yeah.
So, you know, but I can fall back into Pro 275 and be very competitive.
Yeah.
So, you know, so I think a lot of guys, you know, jumped on that because the payout's the same.
Yeah.
And then, you know, two, there's just a couple guys going really fast in RVW that have, you know, I'm sure discouraged some people. But
Yeah.
I think that, you know, we'll say, you know, I'm a firm believer that if you pay 100 grand for a payout for one race, then, you know, if you don't pay 100 grand at the next race, then, you know, people are almost disappointed.
Yeah,
You
no,
know,
I agree.
so-
You can only pay out what you can pay out.
Right.
And I agree, like, I mean, the payouts are,
Right.
you know, I think Donald does a really good job of getting the racers paid. You know, the
Right.
payouts are really great. But
Yeah.
to your point, yeah, I think that was something to kind of go back to the 90s a little bit, like,
Yeah, it's just hard to go backwards.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
it is, man. And like that with pro stock, I think, you know, in the 90s, you would go to the U.S. Nationals or anything like that, and people, you could lease a pro stocker and go heads up racing.
Right.
Because that was the only, you know, one of the, Pro Mod was then too, but it just wasn't as popular. That was like one of the only places you could go to go heads up drag racing. And then when all this stuff started coming out with the radio guys, the Pro Mod became more prevalent, stuff like that, there's just more places for people that have that income and that ability level to race. It just spreads out thinner. And I think that's what you're seeing now also is, you know, yeah, we could run RVW, but we could also run Pro 275.
Yeah.
You know, I love, you know, our favorite class, bar none, is X. Like, we love X275.
Yeah.
And
I think Pro 275 might be my second favorite
it's
class.
really growing.
It's pretty cool.
I love it. Yeah. I think for me, I just love looking at a car on a 275 tire. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I
don't think it gets any better than steel roofing quarters on a 275.
No, I don't. Like,
I think too that the 275 is the soul of radial racing.
Yeah, I would agree with
That is
it.
the tire. You know what I mean? Like, because the 315, you know, one, it's
like a stepchild.
a pro, but also, you know what I mean? It's like a 30-inch tall tire, so it's like, it's you know, it's that gray area that where it's not really a small tire, but it's not a big tire. It's a medium tire.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas 275, you know, everybody knows a 275 or a 28-10.5 is a small tire.
No, I
so
agree
you know
with
what I mean?
that.
That's
Yeah.
real deal small tire racing. So, you know, I you know, just to see how fast these guys are going on a 275 ET street is just stupid.
It's really impressive.
And it's entertaining.
It is, man. I think all the classes now, like you know, all the way down to, you know, to limited 235 or a DXP street. It's just, man, they're just so competitive.
Oh,
Everything.
absolutely.
It's really cool to watch and be a part of. And I don't know.
X275 has always probably been one of the most consistent competitive classes in the past 10 years of how tight that it's really been.
Yeah.
But it's cool to see now, Ultra Street too, how tight the field's gotten. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's just as tight, if not tighter than X.
Yeah.
Now, just at lights out, I mean, there was, same thing, 20 cars running between 350s and 380s, it was like super tight racing. You look at that qualifying sheet and it's just like, 351, 353, 353, 354,
Yeah.
356, 360, 361, 362. That's super, super tight.
Well, and that I think one of the coolest things to see that, and just really hats. I know that the rule makers have a hard job, right? Like, and it's kind of a thankless job. People are always complaining about that stuff, but I mean, you look at a class like a pro stock. They're all 500-inch engines. They all are via, basically that's got
Basically
one
the
stick.
same thing, yeah.
Yeah, they're exactly the same. Not exactly, but they're close to the same
Yeah.
car, and the field's really tight. And then now you're taking cars that have just an absolute crazy different number of power adders and weights and all that stuff, and like you're getting them to run that tight that's unreal, man.
It is unreal.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, and look at Pro Mod and NHRA, like they limit boost, they do all these things to try to make the field tight, which I understand. I don't know enough about Pro Mod really to speak to it, but the class itself. But it's really cool to see what the rule makers have done to make it that tight.
Oh, for sure.
It's unreal. So, and I think, I've seen a post earlier about, how tight the racing in Extreme Street and Ultra and all that stuff is. And, people asking, there's some people complaining or asking, is that still a working man's class and stuff like that. And I think, man, for what it is, it absolutely still is.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on how hard you want to work.
Yeah. Yeah. The one thing that I think about Ultra is that, it is a little bit easier on parts, than, your higher classes. I think that, it is a little bit more of a working man's class just because the fact that, you can build an engine and, as long as you don't, do something stupid, you could probably, that engine, probably last you the whole season if you wanted it to.
Yeah.
But, whereas, the faster you go, X or Pro 275 or whatever, you're obviously, if you're a nitrous car, you're spraying that thing harder. If you're a forced induction car, you're running a lot more boost. Like, you're just leaning on everything
Yeah.
so much harder that, like, at the ultra power level, it's a little bit easier to get parts to live.
I
Not
agree.
that these guys aren't leaning on their combos,
Yeah.
but it's just that, like, physically the blocks and the heads and the rods and stuff,
Yeah, it's a
like,
smaller
live
blower,
a little
smaller
bit.
turbo.
They live a little bit better at that power, at the, 12 to 1500 horsepower power level than, X. You're talking 2,000 horsepower power level. At 2,000 horsepower, this is a lot harder on head gaskets, heads, blocks, rods, everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you can. Shoot, Martin's car last year they won a 59, and that thing just had like some freaking Cali's H-beam rods in it. Yeah. I mean, you got Dave out there out running friggin' 25, 30-year-old freaking heads and block and crank and stuff.
Poor Dave, man. He's out there looking through scrap yards, trying to find parts.
Yeah.
No.
He's got some old Oliver rods in there.
Yeah. Well, and I think one of the other comments a lot of times about this style of racing, and we're kind of going off on a tangent, but it is, it really is. It's such a team thing. It's no longer really like one at the blue collar level of drag racing. It's really no longer one guy's car.
Right.
It's multiple people are
Yeah.
helping to get it done, and I think that's for a lot of people. That's almost a pride thing,
Yeah.
Like I heard one person say like, well, who cares whose name's on the door? And I think that if you're a part of a team like that, you have to get to that point. Like, I don't care whose name on the door. We're here to kick butt,
Right,
Like,
absolutely.
whoever we can put in there that's better, like,
Right.
we'll put
Yeah.
them in there, you
Right.
know? So
Yeah, if you're not putting the best person, on your best driver on your team in the driver's seat, you know, because you're proud or
Yeah.
whatever, then you're not being a very good team player.
No.
You know, if you're not putting the best person on the keyboard, you know, behind the laptop, you know, you're probably
Yeah.
not being a very good team player.
No, and
So-
and I think that's one of the things that me and you've always worked well together is like, dude, I know my place is not standing on the starting line tuning.
Right.
I would never get that thing down the racetrack. That's why you're there, and I'm the dumb hillbilly in the seat.
Pretty much.
And it takes both, you
Yeah.
know. So I think that's, you know, with that level of racing, I think it does any of this stuff, man. Not only the money commitment, it's just the time. I watched Motion Raceworks put out a video earlier, it was a few days ago, of following Justin that races that real pretty
Yeah.
Nova.
I
And,
started to watch it, but I didn't get to finish it.
it was really awesome, you know, because a lot of times people don't talk about that kind of stuff, like, you know, that, man, we went testing and we broke a motor and then all of a sudden that cost us 15 grand, you know,
Right.
like that's an unexpected cost. But also the cost of, you know, having people drive to go get parts, drive to do this. So it's not like, even if someone, as a team, there's some people in that team that may not be able to contribute financially, but that doesn't make them less valuable. Maybe they have a little easier work schedule where they can drive and go get parts, or, you know, manage the social media pages for the car. Like, there's a lot of stuff that
Oh,
it takes a lot of
absolutely.
people to do.
Yep.
So
Yep. Yeah. If you're trying to race at this level, you definitely need help. It's not possible to do by yourself. It takes a minimum of 2 people. You know, so
Yeah.
3's even better.
yeah, and really, I mean, we went to a couple races last year, just the two of us, because they were far, and it was,
Yeah.
you know, and by the end of that, man, I mean, we're
Yeah.
tired, you
Yeah,
know,
it's
like,
a lot of work.
and we're just running our 235 car, you
Yeah.
know. So, do we have any comments, Zach?
Jason John said, all this talk on how fast the 275 has been, how fast did y'all go in the 235?
With the fastest that we went on the 26.85 was like how fast did we go?
77, I think.
Yeah, we went 477 on the 8.5.
Yeah.
We never really tried to go fast on the 8.5 with the big turbo on it. We went at 445 on the 2610.
Yeah. And I think the car could have went that fast on the 85.
Yeah,
Just
I
we
think
did
so
it.
too. It only went 110 60 foot, so
Yeah.
I think we could. I mean, we went 114 60 foot on the 8.5. We've been 114 in 235 trim at 3,200 pounds with no boost controller. So I think, you know, with the big turbo, the car was 2950 with the lead out of it. So with the big turbo at 2950, you know, it would have easily gone 110 on the 8.5. So yeah, I think we could have gone 440s on the 8.5, which
Yeah.
I think, you know, I wish we would have, because I think the 8.5 record's like a 44
Yeah,
or
we
something.
could have
so-
got really close.
Yeah, but yeah, as far as I know, I think the 60 foot record on an 8.5 is like 109 or 108 or something like
Yeah.
that. So
That's a little bitty tire, man.
it is a little finicky,
Yeah.
little bitty finicky tire.
Yeah, if
but
you want to learn something,
yeah,
put that thing on. Yeah,
Yep.
it really will. Anything else?
I've heard some people talking about like 26-inch no prep racing. I
Yeah.
think that would be cool.
yeah.
We'll see. That would be fun.
No, and unfortunately, with the new car, you'll never see an 8.5 on it. I don't think.
Probably not.
It would probably rip the quarter panel off of it.
Yeah.
So it'd be pretty much set up for 275s, and,
Yep.
and that's it. But I don't know. I think just talking about the different rules and the different classes is it's just cool to watch it all evolve. And like we talked, you know, a few weeks ago, like it really still is, you know, this type of racing as a teenager, it's not that old. Like,
Right.
so there's a lot of maturity to find. And I think when people do start talking about, you know, things being dead and this and that, like, I don't think that's healthy. You
Yeah.
know, I think we always need to, I'm a big believer in whatever you do, speak positively.
Yeah.
But I think we were positive about it, and you look at the rules and you try to make some adjustments and figure that out. And then at the end of the day, man, I mean, to run a RVW car is expensive.
Oh, absolutely,
And
yeah.
you got drivers there's a lot of drivers that are transferring from RVW to racing NHRA Pro Mod, stuff like that. And you're seeing people come from Pro Mod to race RVW or even Pro Stock with Laughlin and stuff. So,
Yeah.
like, you know, it's kind of the same thing as, you know, going to a motocross track and wanting to ride A class, but you've only been on your bike for 3 years.
Yep.
You're not, you have no right to step into that.
Right.
You know? So.
Yeah, I think the promoters need to be careful though. Like with like the no prep stuff, we're starting to see kind of the same thing as the Radio versus the World. You know, you put a $100,000 payout up, you know, you really attract a lot of attention.
Yeah.
So you know, you're gonna start getting, you know, big hitters, you know, guys that, you know, weren't racing small tire no prep stuff, you know, that are, you know, radial racing or pro mod racing or big tire no prep racing or whatever. I mean, you put payouts like that up, you're going to draw their attention, and you know, you're going to start getting people pulling in toters and stackers to small tire no prep races. So
Yeah. Talent always
Yeah.
follows money.
yeah, you guys, so just tread lightly on that.
Yeah. What do you got, Zach? Anything?
Nope.
Cool.
Just our comment about our shipping department.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's right behind you.
That's as fast as our cars.
yeah. Dang, that's good. Dang, we're getting better.
I don't know about that. But
We try really hard, man. We do. And like we said before, this is an Amazon, and
yeah,
you know, my wife's still kind of on bed rest, so you know, your shipping department is here, and we're still trying to build race cars
Yeah.
and do all that, and so we're just trying to streamline it all, but it takes a little bit of time to
sure.
make that happen. So, anything else, Zach?
Nope.
Well, I think we blabbered enough. You got anything else? Last thoughts? No. Well, like I said, go on the YouTube and subscribe and like that stuff as we're trying to get that built up. If you haven't, go like Cincy Street Nights. That's our local race that we're putting on this year. So we only got a few months until, well, really just less than 2. Is it less than 2?
Next month.
Yeah. So
April
yeah,
23rd.
April 23rd is the first
yeah,
one.
month and a half.
So yeah, we got that working on, and yeah, we'll probably end up doing some live videos from the Cincy Street Night page also to try to give you guys more information, things like that. But like always, man, we appreciate everybody's support, man. Couldn't do it without you. So.